Hey everybody, it's Mark Masters. It's Monday night. It's Always Bookin Comedy. Very confusing for me because I'm on the East Coast, so different time zone, I guess. It's a different time here than I'm used to, but we figured it out. We got it working. We got Josh Farley from Branson, Missouri. He's a magician. We've done nearly 100 episodes. This might be 99, and we've never had a magician. So hopefully he doesn't disappear. I promise that'll be my last bad joke. Uh, not ever, just on this
particular episode
segment. Yeah. How are you, Josh? How's it going?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, Mark.
Good.
I'm excited. I appreciate it, and knowing I'm the first magician, it's an honor.
Yeah. How do you I don't know, tell us something about magic. Tell us, or about yourself, or
just something general about magic.
Sure.
I don't know. The question I always get: what's the difference between a magician and an illusionist? How about that?
Oh, okay. I was just in Las Vegas, and they had illusionists advertised everywhere. David Copperfield, I think, is an illusionist. Is that true?
Copperfield's an illusionist. Yeah. It's one of those. All illusionists are magicians, but not all magicians are illusionists.
Got it.
One of those things, right?
Okay.
So Copperfield would be a great example of an illusionist. You know, the nerdy definition is that grand illusionist, you make a girl disappear, appear, saw a lady in half, that sort of thing. We're always picking on the ladies. I don't know why, but that would be it's the big grand illusion. When you think big Copperfield, that's the illusionist. And then magician is just anyone that does a type of magic trick. And so there's 7 different genres of magic.
What? Can you name them all?
I can, yeah.
Cards?
So those are that would be a different type of genre. So okay. I say genre, but different effects would be the better way to say it.
Okay, all right.
You can make something vanish.
Okay.
You can make something appear. You can make 2 objects trade places or transpose. You can saw someone in half is actually its own genre, sawing. You can saw your arm even, right? Okay. There's penetration. You can put something like in a balloon, or I do something.
You do the old needle through your hand thing?
Needle through the hand. That's David Blaine. Yeah, I've done it through the arm, right?
Gross.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do one where I put a nail through my nose.
Oof.
If you've seen that.
Okay.
So penetration's one. We've got levitation.
Oh, that's a cool one.
Yeah. Mind reading, and there's a couple subgenres of mind reading.
Okay.
And then levitation as well.
Okay. I think you did that one, but you did 7. You skipped ahead. Okay. So that's amazing. That's cool. Have you always loved magic?
Yeah. So it started when my interest in learning it started when I was 12, but as long as I can remember, my dad and I would always watch magicians when they'd come on TV, that sort of thing. I remember there was this muscular dystrophy fundraiser, telethon, that was on with Jerry Lewis, if you remember that.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was first introduced to it as a kid. Every year when that was on, or however often it was on, we'd keep it on. And anytime there's a magician, my dad would call me into the room, or I'd call my dad into the room. And it wasn't until I was 12 that I saw my first live magician, and then caught the bug.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Do you know who Nate Bargatze is? He's a comedian.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love him.
His father is a magician. Do you know this?
Steven. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know him?
Not personally, but I've been in the same circles, and we're 1 degree separation. And been to a few conventions that he's performed at, lectured at.
So. Okay, cool. That's neat.
Yeah.
I speaking of circles, are you part of the what's it called, Comedy and Magic Club? What's this Magic Mansion? There's something like right in Hollywood. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. The Magic Castle.
That's it. Magic Castle. Yeah.
And the Academy of Magical Arts.
Have you been there?
I've only been to the castle once, and I wasn't 21 yet. And they're very, I guess for legal reasons, they sell alcohol, right? So I had to be 21 to actually go inside.
Okay.
But I live in Missouri, and I make
It's
it
a
out to
long way away.
California. Sorry.
It's a long way away.
It's a ways, yeah. So with membership dues and things, it's just not something I've really pursued,
Yeah.
right?
Got
But
it.
world
Cool.
class, the
Do they
guys.
have, is that like the only thing in the country like it? Or is there one in Boston or like New York City or?
It's the most well-known one, and it's the longest standing one. We've seen them pop up a little bit more. There's similar things that have popped up over the last few years. I'd say the Chicago Magic Lounge would be number two.
Oh, cool. I was going to mention Chicago because that's not too far from Missouri.
Yeah, Chicago's great. They do a phenomenal job. They have so the castle has multiple rooms, and each room is a type of a different scale of magic, either the close-up, card work, that sort of thing. Then there's a parlor, and then they've got the Grand Illusion. I think they've got a couple different rooms as well. Again, I'm not as familiar as I should be with the castle. But I've been to Chicago a few times, and they've got a single parlor. They have someone that opens the show. They have kind of a maestro of the show, a headliner, and then you can also buy tickets, a separate ticket to their close-up room, and see a close-up magic show on top of that main show. So
What's your favorite genre of magic to watch? And is it the same to perform?
that is a great question. So I would say that my favorite genre to perform is the Grand Illusion, sawing a lady in half,
Okay, cool.
that thing.
Do you let me sub question about that. Do you have all that equipment? And if you go on the road, do you like pack it into a van? Like how does this work logistically?
I do. So I have about 9 or 10 big Grand Illusions. We performed a big Grand Illusion on Penn and Teller Fool Us, if you're familiar with that
Oh,
show.
cool.
And so that was, yeah, my parents were kind enough to rent a big vehicle, drive it down, because of course the producers fly me out. For me and the rest of the cast were flown out. Now I only get to perform the big Grand Illusion show a couple times a year, because logistically it's quite a bit of overhead to rent out. A big U-Haul is usually the route we go. What's a little bit more popular to bring out is doing a single Grand Illusion that I can fit in a rental vehicle. I can get a truck, and then put a couple things in the truck, versus having to haul out the full Grand Illusion show. We do still get to perform that. I love it. I love theater. I'm addicted to the all the different beats strung together to create the performance art. But my favorite.
So what about watching? And let's answer that like today. Like I wouldn't say jaded. You seem pretty excited about magic, but you are, engrossed in it. So what is still fun for you to watch?
The most fun to me is comedy magic.
Oh yeah?
A really good comedy magician. I'll plug Mike Hammer down in Las Vegas. He does a lot of crowd work, and the few times that I've seen him, I mean, just guttural laughter.
Yeah.
I mean, he just gets everyone going. He's picking on older folks and younger folks. I've got a friend that's on the shorter, a little vertically challenged, and he was tearing into him. And the magician's also short, and so they're going back and forth. And man, I mean, he's really top of his game, class act.
That's all. Where does he perform?
He performs at the Golden Nugget in
Okay. Yeah.
Vegas. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So.
Right on. That's fun. I'm sure you do some jokes, some comedy in your routine.
Yeah, there's comedy throughout the show. Try to add a little bit of everything, as far as a little bit of crowd work, a little bit of scripted jokes that I've put into the show throughout the years that are original. I'm not a comedian, right? And then there's only one standard, that I hold on to that I just love. A standard joke that it seems like every magician does, but it's just so funny still. And I poke fun at the fact that it's silly, but yeah, there's comedy throughout the show. And
Nice. So comedians typically will go to like open mics to work on material. How do you practice your craft?
that's a great question. So the trick itself is in front of a mirror and friends and family. And then once it's ready, the method is ready, then the performance aspect comes in. And we do the same. We go to open mic nights and we'll
Like magic open mics?
I don't think magic's popular enough you could sustain that in any maybe in a larger city, but no, just a general open mic,
Like a music open mic where people are doing
music
Okay.
and variety.
Cool.
So I guess does comedy just have comedy open mic?
Traditionally, yeah. And sometimes if you're really hard up for a mic, you'll go to a music open mic, which can be good and bad. Like it's good in that you get a much longer set than you normally get. Like in a comedy open mic, you might only get 3 minutes. But a
Really?
music, usually they're doing 2 to 3 songs. The songs are 3 to 5. You might get 10 minutes or longer, which is nice. The bad thing is it's pretty hard to follow a musician. Like everybody knows the music, they're singing along, and then you're telling your jokes, and it doesn't necessarily work. There's like a hypnotism aspect to comedy, and that's why it's very popular to have a host, feature, headliner. By the time the headliner gets along, like the audience, a good feature will train the audience. You know, da 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 punchline, da 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 punchline, and they just get in the rhythm basically. Like you can feel it sometimes. Like when you tell a joke that doesn't really work, people will laugh, but they laugh differently. Like because they just like it's I think it's like hypnotism. I don't know how that works, but people will just hear the structure of a joke and they will make noises out of their mouth, but they're not as loud. You have to really be sensitive and listen to the audience and hear, okay, that punchline didn't really land. Like people laughed, but they didn't laugh at the same level as 2 jokes ago that killed. So anyways,
Interesting.
in a music mic, it can be really difficult to you got to start cold. You can warm up the audience and then it's back to music usually because there's not often a lot of comedians at a music mic.
Fascinating. That makes a lot of sense. And I relate to that hypnosis factor because the punchline for a magician is the magic trick. Just,
Yeah.
something amazing happened. And you have to train the audience that I'm not here to pull one over on you. I think there's two different types of people that watch magic. There's people just trying to enjoy it, and there's people that are trying to figure everything out. And even though their arms are crossed and they're not really giving you that feedback that you would hope for, they might actually be really enjoying the show. They're
Yeah.
just annoyed that they can't figure your stuff out. And so training the audience to, I don't take myself too seriously here. I'm not trying to deceive you in a
Like mean way or negative. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, we're just having fun. And so that hypnosis thing very much comes into play as it takes a little while to break their barriers down that hey, we can breathe, we can relax, we know we can laugh, we can wow, we can clap at the appropriate times. And
Right. Do
that's
you I'm so interested in similarities and differences between comedy and magic. Do you have merch? Like when you go out and do shows, do you sell stuff after the show or is that not cool or
that's on the roadmap. So I'm at an interesting spot in my career. This is my first year back since the pandemic to full
wow.
time on the road. And so trying to figure out my kind of breakout moment was Penn and Teller Fool Us, and that was summer of 2019.
Oh jeez.
And so
Brutal.
Yeah, we had all this momentum. It was phenomenal. And I didn't really have the time to implement a merch strategy back then. And then I had all the time in the world to think about it. But now my branding, my goals, and overall structure is a little bit different than it was back then. And so certainly will have merchandise. But for now, the long answer for a short question is I don't have merch right now, but it's
Okay.
certainly a plan. Do you have merch?
I do. Yeah. I hate t-shirts. Real quick sidebar on merch. Like I mean, I don't hate them. I like them. I buy t-shirts as merch for comics. They're miserable because you got to carry an enormous bag. It's so heavy. If you don't sell them, you got to carry it. They're twice as heavy carrying them back home. There are too many reasons for people to say no to t-shirts. It's the wrong size, it's the wrong color, whatever, and they're bulky. So I like stickers. Stickers are my favorite. I have stickers about specific jokes. I will say I am so sick of some of the jokes that are related to stickers, but when I do an hour, I have to tell those jokes because I have to sell those stickers to make a living, and it's frustrating a little bit. So I would like to, make new stickers, um, and
Oh,
yeah,
so telling the jokes that are on the stickers, you're
yeah,
pigeon.
you have to tell them.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like every once in a while, at the end of my set, I'll be like, "Well, I got these stickers for sale," and I'll get to like the third sticker, and I'll be like, I'll realize I didn't tell that joke, and I'll be like, "Oh, I have to skip over it," and it's a bummer because that's less income at that point. Yeah.
That's
Um,
great.
yeah. The merch makes a bit like I mean I don't know how it is in magic. In comedy, sometimes I will make more money in merch sales. We're not talking a ton of money, $100, $200 maybe, than I'm actually getting paid. So the merch is a really big deal. I mean there are certain places where you can't sell merch. Like it could be you're an opening act and a headliner doesn't want you to. You always need to ask permission. It could be the environment, like maybe it's a corporate kind of thing, and usually you're getting paid a lot better, and it isn't the right, like it's a fundraiser or something. Like it just doesn't feel right to sell merch at those things. But typically at like a bar show, uh, merch is pretty important.
Makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I can see
Um,
that whoever is organizing the fundraiser not wanting you to sell your own goods.
yeah.
They've got the
Yeah.
auction and
It's
things.
kind of a bad look, honestly, because it makes it seem like you're not getting paid enough. So
Mm.
it looks funny. Have you ever busked? Do you know what busking is?
I know what busking is. I did it once and just
Never again.
never again.
Tell us about it. That's a good story, probably. How did
Oh,
it go? What happened?
it was just rough. You've got to there's two things. Grab the attention and pass the hat. And I at that point was just so used to doing a lot of corporates and I'm the guy on stage. You get on the stage, all the people are watching you, and as long as you're good enough, they're not going to leave. And that's the metric. But grabbing people's attention as they're walking by and just saying, hey, you want to see a magic trick?
Right.
It's like, well, you might get some people and you start to build a crowd, is the goal.
Yeah.
But
Where did you do it? Do you remember?
up in Kansas City, it was, I think, Union Station.
Okay.
This area and they even had stickers of places where they welcomed buskers to come
Oh,
out.
okay.
But a lot of my material is more long form, and you got people walking that just wants to buy their crafts and their fresh fruits, and
Right.
it just I drove up to Kansas City just to try it because I knew that they had this place for it, and I think I made $10
Oh,
for an
geez.
hour.
And loss of dignity.
Exactly. I spent more
Immeasurable.
on lunch. Yeah.
So speaking of long form stuff, has social media changed magic?
That's so interesting. So it wildly has changed magic, and for the good and the worse. It's changed the amount of exposure that people have to it as an art form. I find that people are more excited to see a magician these days because they've seen a lot more clips than just Chris Angel or David Blaine were the guys on cable TV when I was coming up. And then prior to that, you have your Copperfield that would just do his special once a year. And it seemed like a very niche, it's still niche, but it seemed like a very rare art form. And now with social media, people are getting exposed to many different types of magicians. And I think that's beneficial. When it first came out, there's a lot of eye candy of guys that, you know, can only do their 2 or 3 second thing in front of the screen. And you can't watch it from this side or this side. And they can record it 80 different times before they actually get it. And some of these companies were handing out, hiring some of these.
Oh, geez.
TikTok and Instagram.
Well, that's a thing in comedy as well. Very common.
Is it?
I mean, that you know, comedians will sell out clubs, quote unquote comedians, you know, TikTok stars, and then they're pretty horrible
and
on
just
stage.
bomb.
Yeah,
I'm sure that makes so much sense. Yeah, same exact thing with magic. And I think a lot of these corporates have gotten wise to. They've learned. Go through a reputable agent, go through the proper channels. Just because someone's got a massive following doesn't mean that they can do a full show.
Right. Do you book your own work or do you use agents? How does that?
So I have my team. I've got an in-house team that we work together. I have a couple different people for a couple different markets that reach out. We do a lot of outbound. And then I'm on a few different websites and things where corporates will reach out. I had a college agency through the pandemic. They switched ownership and I haven't really gotten back into the whole college grind. And then I will have agencies reach out here and there. I don't have, but I'm not on enough rosters. I really haven't structured things to work with a lot of agencies. I've certainly worked with agencies, but I'm not a feature on, I think I'm on a handful of rosters, but it's not something I,
do you find that your Penn and Teller credit helps you these days? Does it make an impact?
It makes a huge impact. It was overnight. I was starving artist and really didn't have anything more than just my set before Penn and Teller. And then the rates were, we double, tripled rates. We booked the largest corporate thing the very next day after the air date. And so having the credit of being on the CW, being able to say Penn and Teller, that's also led to other opportunities like Masters of Illusion Live. I guest headlined in Atlantic City, and Celebrities of Magic out in Bakersfield, California. And I'm sure the same's true with comedy. One thing begets another thing, begets another thing. And so
how did that come together? How did they find you or their team find you?
So we submitted an audition for Penn and Teller. And kind of what happened was I had a friend of mine that kind of mentored me here and there. Well, definitely mentored me, but I was very young in a number of ways, also literally young. But so it was the first year that we were doing the college circuit. We did the NACA conventions and things, and I had developed this routine I felt pretty confident would be a fooler. And my mentor actually reached out to me and said, "Hey, love that you're posting stuff on social media finally. I love that you're out there really trying. You should hire this consultant who is the guy. He's gotten maybe 30, 40, 50 different people on Penn and Teller Fool Us at this point. He's just an encyclopedia of everyone that's been on the show. what the producers are looking for to make good TV, because ultimately the goal is make great TV.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first question he had for me was, what are your goals? Do you want to fool them or do you want to make great TV? And, kind of. So great TV, right? So it completely changed what I submitted to this consultant. It was a piece that I didn't even really like at first. And then he had a bunch of notes on it to make it substantially better. The producers accepted it, and they actually rewrote the script considerably for the show. The executive producers did, and had some phenomenal notes on it. And so it really did take a team. There were about 7 of us on my end that were working day in and day out to produce this huge piece that ultimately I'm very proud of what we put on that show. But it's crazy how many hours and how many people go into creating 10 minutes of television.
Right. That's wild. Did you do cruise ship stuff, or is that in your long-term plan?
I'm not wholeheartedly opposed to it, but I do get a little seasick just being out on friends' boats and things. And so I haven't even been on a cruise as an individual, just a patron. If I were to do a cruise ship, I would definitely want to be a patron on a cruise before accepting a contract. But
Yeah, quick side note, most cruise ships, you are in the worst part of the cruise ship, and you're most likely to get sick because you're way down low, and it's like the rockiest, and you don't have a window, and so yeah, definitely maybe try that out first. We get a great question online from North Carolina here. Are magicians supportive of each other or competitive and secretive?
that is a great question. I would say that it is both. You're going to get both. And I think the most successful magicians hinge on, I believe this fully, hinge on whether you've pushed fully into being supportive, loving, giving, caring, or whether you've been the complete opposite mega jerk.
Are you saying both of those can be successful, but you got to go to one of the edges?
I feel strongly about that.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, that there are phenomenal people that honor the code of ethics, that show up to. I belong to the International Brotherhood of Magicians. We have a few different organizations, and I'd say the grand majority of professional magicians are very supportive and want to help and recognize that. I'm sure I would guess that it's similar to comedy is, hey, I've been working on this routine. What are your thoughts? What are your input? And then if someone's like, oh, this should be the punchline, you're like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Right. And now you test it out and you're like, man, that was a great note. Thank you.
Yeah.
Versus some guys are like, no, this is my set and I'm not going to help anyone else. And
right. Have you seen Arrested Development, the TV series?
I have, yeah.
Do you have thoughts on the magic theme throughout?
Oh, it's so great. It's hilarious. It really is hilarious. Because you've got, I think that's one of the more interesting things about magic is the preconceived notions that people have before they go to see a magician. And I addressed that off the bat in my shows. There's one of 2 people in the audience, and I adjust the joke based on the audience. But in a corporate event where there's an open bar, for instance, I'm saying, we heard there's going to be a magician tonight. And you're like, this is going to be the best day of my life. No. Or you're like, I'm just here for the open bar. And regardless of which category you're in, we've got something for everyone this evening. But I find that, yeah, you're reeling in people that have the idea that they're going to go see a children's birthday party magician. They might be thinking huge David Copperfield, whatever. There's all these different notions of what it even means to be a magician. Some people don't even know. And so I find that very interesting when I perform is just, you've got the guys that are like Job from our development. And
that's hilarious. All right, last couple of questions. Maybe a favorite performance memory. Do you ever like literally anybody ever like pass out from like astonishment or anything like that?
I wouldn't say pass out, but I've had people. I did have a guy fall outright, like just stumble over himself and walk back 10 feet before he finally fell on his butt. I've had a few things that are actually felt like magic, where I just guess something and it ends up being accurate, and you play into that. That's happened a few times now. I would say my favorite one. I was actually in high school, and so I had more kahunas back then. But there was David Blaine did this thing on a bus where he would make he sprung cards against a window on the opposite side of the window.
Okay.
And sprung it against the window, and then the selected card was stuck to the opposite side of the window. And that had just become a viral YouTube clip. I'd just done about an hour worth of magic on this long bus trip. And someone was, can you do that trick very early on? I'm like, no, that's next level.
Is this like a bunch of high school kids you're on a trip, or you got paid to entertain a bus? Like
bunch of high school kids. I'm a high school kid, and I'm just showing kids magic tricks.
Okay.
And someone asked about this David Blaine trick. I'm like, yeah, that's, he's the best. And everyone disperses. We're done with the magic. And I look over at the window and just have this off the wall idea. I'm like, I think I've got a way I can do this thing. And so I gather everyone to come back and nail it. Absolutely nail it. And I've got a couple buddies still that were on that trip, and they will tell this story to this day of just how insane that moment was.
That's crazy. That's cool. That's fun. All right. Well, we got to land this plane. How do people find you if they want to book you for a corporate event or just see you at a club, I guess? I don't really know how that works.
Yeah, so we're gonna have some ticketed events towards the end of the year. All of my tour dates will be on joshfarley.com. Currently, we don't have any ticketed events available for the public, but you can go on to joshfarley.com and submit an inquiry to bring the show out, or you can see where I'm gonna be. I do have a tour lined up, a lot of private events and things traveling the country, and so. Come on out, say hi, drop a line. You can just check out the website.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for being our first magician. Stick around for a second. Thanks everybody who tuned in. We got a whole huge back catalog of episodes, and tune in every Monday live. You can ask questions online. We'll see you.